green car just went by. This is a Guild Travel and PNC, and PNC has a fish eye looking clock. So it could play into like death threat or death warnings or caution messaging, particularly in my case, since I was made to believe I'd be murdered the 4th Monday of January 2011 when I lived in a different apartment, and my mom and aunt's phone lines were severed, cut in Jacksonville, Florida, so that when I tried to call my mom and aunt, really my mom, you know, I heard the we're sorry, the phone number you're trying to reach has been disconnected. And then the games commenced, and it was like, yeah, there's PTSD for starters, because I was convulsing to the point where I couldn't hold my phone that night. It took me a while to call anyone, and actually I called my mom the next day because it was the hour was so ungodly that, and so into the wee wicked hours of the morning. I knew to try not to call my mom right away. I just thought my sister, and then she convinced me to call police. I didn't think the police would do anything for some reason. I felt like it would be rerouted. There were messages all over the place. Like if I call them, will it be rerouted to the CIA, like a special department of the CIA, and they'll send out specialty officers who will behave a certain way unlike a normal call. All that went through my head. Fight Club with social darts. So anyway, target darts and everything. Here's social darts. I think it's funny to say social darts. That's a new one, you know, it's just darts. Now they're social. Philly had to turn them into social darts. Let me fix this really quick. Anyway, called my sister. She convinced me to call police. You know, the police didn't do much. There's a whole, you'd have to read my book to Pussy and Dress, Not Factories in the Making. I don't think it any longer, but just believe it. I know it. I know I was set up. And it was like the game has commenced, and it's sort of like a really dark, evil version of Fantasia, mixed with Truman Show, mixed with whistleblower of tobacco industry, mixed with enemy of the state, mixed with a little Groundhog Days, because some people played into the loop theory. It's like Truman Show-ish, Groundhog-ish, where you're on a loop, you know, and people just keep running into the same people every day, and they do the, it's like, this is weird, I'm stuck in a glitch in the TV program of America, you know. So we're on Broad, so that picks up some wind. It's spitting rain enough for me to use the umbrella. The games commenced, and this city was filled to the brim with people like beyond. It could have been partially an historic time period, because there were probably people here to protect the history of the city, the Constitution. It was the first African-American president, male. All of that plays into this in terms of how many people were here, and to think that some people played a game during a time period that was very serious historically in terms of maintaining peace and not having anything go berserk. And instead they were probably trying to find someone to go berserk. This thing was so bad that it's like, I wonder every time I read about a crazy story, and I didn't say crazy for years because I was so sensitive to that word. I was so sensitive to that word that I wouldn't use the word. I love the sign. This is one of my favorite. Oddly, this makes for the best thumbnail. Anyway, but there were so many people here. They had a special arts festival, PAFA, which went on for like 2.5 months, which brought people from around the world. It had a French theme. So they had kind of like special nights, like Cirque du Soleil-ish over Broad Street. They had people balancing on wires over Broad Street. They had the Kimmel Center, you know, they blocked off Broad Street for a couple weekends to put on a big show. That never happens like that in such a large fashion. So all of that played into how many people were actually here in Philadelphia in 2011. So record numbers of attendance in general. Not to mention 2015, the Pope showed up here. He selected, like, it's just like soccer, you know, a bunch of cities put in a bid and he selected Philadelphia. And some have wondered why he selected Philadelphia over other cities. Was it because of what happened? What a massacre of a single person. What evil was displayed, unless he was playing into the idea of evil and satisfying certain people. It's hard to know, there's all kinds of theories, but he actually chose Philadelphia to show up in 2015. I had just finished my MFA, and I didn't really want to get the MFA